During our breakup, Sophie admitted, "I thought you'd always be there no matter who else I dated, waiting when I was ready to settle down." I texted her best friend immediately, not knowing that single message would lead to Sophie losing everything she thought she had secured. 3 years. That's how long I'd been with Sophie, and I genuinely thought we were building something real. I'm Jake, 28, project manager at one of the city's largest construction firms, pulling in about $120,000 a year plus bonuses. Not trying to brag, but context matters here, because Sophie always acted like she was doing me a favor by being with me, despite the fact that I was paying 70% of our bills while she built her marketing career. We'd met at a board game night through mutual friends, one of those normal stories you tell at dinner parties. She laughed at my jokes, got competitive at Monopoly in this adorable way, and we just clicked. Within a year, we'd moved in together to this nice 2-bedroom apartment in the city center that cost me $3,800 a month. Sophie contributed $1,200, which she constantly reminded me was a lot for someone just starting in marketing. Everything seemed perfect on the surface. Sunday pancakes, evening walks, terrible reality shows she loved that I pretended to enjoy. My mom adored her, always asking when I was going to propose. Her dad invited me to watch football every weekend, treating me like the son he never had. We were that couple everyone said gave them hope about relationships. I'd even started checking out engagement rings during lunch breaks, had $17,000 saved specifically for the ring and wedding costs. Then came that Tuesday night that changed everything. We were having dinner, just takeout from that Thai place she loved that cost $48 every time, because she always ordered extra appetizers. She was telling me about some work project when she just dropped it on me like she was suggesting we try a new restaurant. "What would you think about trying an open relationship?" My fork literally stopped halfway to my mouth. The pad thai might as well have turned to cement in my throat. This was the same woman who once gave a waitress the silent treatment for a week because she smiled at me too flirtatiously when taking our order. "Is there someone specific you want to date?" I asked. Because that's the only reason someone brings this up out of nowhere, right? Sophie got defensive immediately, her marketing training kicking in as she pitched this like a campaign. No, it's not about anyone specific. I've been reading about it online. Lots of successful couples do it. It could help us grow individually while making our bond stronger. We're still young, Jake. I don't want us to wake up in 10 years wondering what we missed out on. I sat there trying to process while she kept talking, using all these buzzwords like emotional growth, and relationship enhancement, and individual exploration within committed boundaries. My mind was calculating something else entirely. 3 years together, probably $50,000 I'd spent on our life together beyond regular bills, countless hours invested, and she wanted to throw it away to explore. "Have you been unhappy?" I asked, wondering if I'd missed something. "Not at all." She grabbed my hand across the table, and I noticed she'd gotten her nails done recently, the expensive gel ones that cost $120. "I love you, I love us. This isn't about being unhappy. It's about making sure we never become unhappy. Think of it as relationship insurance." The eagerness in her eyes told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't a discussion, it was a notification. She'd already decided. Saying no would just mean she'd do it anyway, probably behind my back. At least this way, I'd know what was happening. "Okay," I said, the word tasting like battery acid. "If you think it'll be good for us, we can try it." Her face lit up like I'd just given her a winning lottery ticket. She immediately started talking about boundaries and rules and dating app profiles. All these details she'd clearly been thinking about for weeks, maybe months. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there doing mental math on how much I'd invested in this relationship and what my exit strategy might need to be. That night, I couldn't sleep. Sophie was out cold beside me, peaceful as could be, while I stared at the ceiling running scenarios. Part of my brain, the strategic part that made me good at my job, was already working. I grabbed my phone and started documenting everything. Screenshots of our bank statements showing my contributions, photos of receipts, even recorded her sleep talking, where she mumbled some guy's name I didn't recognize. The next day, Sophie spent the entire evening setting up her dating profiles. She actually asked me to take photos of her, like I was her personal photographer for her dating campaign. I took them, but I also kept copies. Every photo, every profile description, every message she showed me, I documented. She thought I was being supportive. I was building a case. Within a week, she had 3 dates lined up. 3. She showed me their profiles like we were girlfriends gossiping about boys. The personal trainer at the expensive gym downtown, where membership costs $400 a month. The lawyer who worked at Preston and Associates, a firm I knew because we'd used them for a construction contract dispute. The guy who owned a trendy food truck that I'd actually invested $5,000 in last year through a friend, though Sophie didn't know about that investment. She bought new clothes for these dates. I watched her credit card statements because we shared an Amazon account. And she forgot I could see the orders. $400 on a dress from Nordstrom. $200 on lingerie from Victoria's Secret. Another $300 on shoes. All while I was paying most of our rent. The first time she went on a date, she wore that new black dress and spent an hour doing her makeup. When she asked how she looked, I said great, while mentally calculating that she'd spent more preparing for this date than she had for our last 5 date nights combined. She came home at 2 a.m., giggling and texting. I pretended to be asleep, but recorded the sound of her typing for 43 minutes straight. The next morning, she was humming while making coffee, acting like she hadn't just spent the night with another man, while her boyfriend lay awake in their shared bed. I started tracking everything. Monday, coffee with the gym trainer at that expensive place where a latte costs $8. Wednesday, dinner with the lawyer at Chez Laurent, where the average meal costs $200 per person. Friday, drinks with the food truck owner at the rooftop bar where cocktails are $22 each. I knew because I checked their Instagram locations and called the venues asking about their prices for a special date I was planning. One night, I actually drove by Chez Laurent, saw her through the window, her hand on the lawyer's arm, laughing at something he said, with her head thrown back in that way she used to laugh at my jokes. I took photos from my car, not for jealousy, but for documentation. Meanwhile, she was becoming a stranger at home. No more Sunday pancakes because she was always at brunch with the girls, which I knew meant hungover from her Friday night dates. No more evening walks because she needed to get ready for another date. No more watching shows together because she was always texting someone. "Don't you think you're going on a lot of dates?" I finally asked after 3 weeks of this. She looked at me like I was being ridiculous. "That's the whole point of an open relationship, isn't it? You should try it too. I can help you with your profile if you want." But I didn't need help with a profile. I needed to understand why someone who claimed to love me was so eager to be with everyone else. That's when I realized something crucial. She wasn't looking for an open relationship. She was looking for permission to cheat while keeping me as her safety net. I started making my own moves, but not the ones she expected. I met with my lawyer friend Marcus, who had handled my uncle's divorce, explained the situation, showed him my documentation. He laughed and said, "She has no idea who she's messing with, does she?" "What do you mean?" I asked. "Jake, you own 30% of that food truck she's dating the owner of. You're the anonymous investor who helped him start up. You've got documentation of paying 70% of your shared expenses while she spends money on dates. And from what you're telling me, she's about to lose the one stable thing in her life while chasing fantasies." That's when Emma entered the picture in a way I never expected. Emma had been Sophie's best friend since college, a kindergarten teacher who was always around our place. She'd gone through a breakup recently with her long-term boyfriend Mark, and honestly, I'd never thought of her as anything more than Sophie's friend. She was beautiful, sure, with long brown hair and these incredible green eyes, but she was firmly in the friend zone in my mind. The first time she came over after Sophie started her dating spree, it was to borrow some mixing bowls. Sophie was out with the lawyer, and Emma could immediately tell something was wrong. "You look terrible," she said in that direct way she had. "What's going on?" I told her everything, the open relationship, the constant dates, the way Sophie had changed. Emma sat there actually listening, not just waiting for her turn to talk or trying to defend her friend. "That's not an open relationship," she said when I finished. "That's just Sophie doing whatever she wants without caring how it affects you." Emma started coming by more often when Sophie was out. We'd order takeout, watch movies, just talk. It was nice having someone who understood both of us and could see the situation clearly. But then, about a month into Sophie's exploration, Emma showed up looking nervous, fidgeting with her necklace. "I need to tell you something," she said, sitting on the far end of the couch. "I've had feelings for you for a long time, since before you and Sophie even got together. But you were with her, and she's my best friend, so I never said anything. I dated Mark hoping it would help me get over it, but it didn't work." I stared at her, really seeing her for the first time. This woman who'd brought me soup when I was sick while Sophie was too busy with work to care. Who'd helped me pick out birthday gifts for Sophie. Who'd been there, quietly caring, while I was blind to it. "Watching Sophie treat you like this, seeing how much it's hurting you, it's been killing me," Emma continued. "You deserve better than this." Something shifted in that moment. Maybe it was weeks of feeling worthless, or maybe it was finally having someone see my value. But I kissed her, and she kissed me back. We spent the night together, and it was different from anything I'd experienced with Sophie. Emma was present, attentive, actually interested in me as a person, not just as a convenience. Afterward, lying there in the dark, I waited for the guilt to hit. It didn't. Instead, I felt clarity. Sophie had broken our relationship the moment she decided I was just a backup plan. This thing with Emma, it wasn't revenge. It was recognition of something that should have been obvious all along. "What are we going to do?" Emma asked. "I don't know," I admitted, "but I don't regret this. Do you?" "Not even for a second," she said. I decided to test Sophie's reaction without revealing everything. The next morning, when she came home from staying at Jessica's, which I knew meant the food truck owner's place because I'd seen her Instagram story, I mentioned Emma casually. "Oh, Emma stopped by last night. We had a really good talk." Sophie's hand froze on the coffee pot. "Emma was here?" "Yeah, we hung out for a while. She's really easy to talk to, you know?" The look on Sophie's face was priceless. She spent the next hour frantically texting, probably trying to get information from Emma. Over the next few days, I kept mentioning Emma. How funny she was, how she really understood me, how we'd been texting. Each mention made Sophie more agitated. She started checking my phone when she thought I wasn't looking. She began showing up at places where she knew I'd be. The coffee shop near my work, the gym, even the hardware store I went to for work supplies. Suddenly, she was canceling dates and wanting to stay home. Finally, she confronted me. "Are you seeing someone else?" "Isn't that the point of an open relationship?" I replied. "But who is it? Is it Emma? Are you sleeping with Emma?" I just smiled. "I thought we weren't supposed to share details about our other partners. Isn't that what you said when I asked about your dates?" Sophie lost it, started going through my social media, analyzing every interaction. When Emma posted a photo at the coffee shop where I get my morning coffee, Sophie called me immediately, demanding to know if we were together. The irony was delicious. The woman who'd been dating 3 different guys for weeks couldn't handle the thought of me seeing one person. Then came the night she decided to close the relationship again. She sat on our couch, looking serious and concerned, like she was doing me a favor. "I think we should focus on us again," she said, reaching for my hand. "We've explored enough." I laughed, actually laughed. "You mean you've explored enough? What you really mean is you've realized I'm not just sitting here waiting for you anymore." "That's not fair," she said, but I could see the truth in her eyes. "You know what's not fair? Watching your girlfriend date half the city while you pay most of the bills and pretend everything's fine." "You could have been dating too," she protested. "I have been," I said. "I've been seeing someone." The color drained from her face. "Who? Is it Emma?" When I confirmed it, she absolutely lost it, screaming about betrayal, about how Emma was her best friend, how we'd been plotting against her. The truth was even better when I told her Emma had feelings for me for years, even while dating Mark. "You're lying," Sophie screamed. "Emma would never." "Check your text with her," I said. "Notice how she's been distant lately?" Sophie grabbed her phone, scrolling frantically through messages, seeing Emma's lack of response in a new light. Then she said something that revealed everything. "I thought you'd always be there, that no matter who else I dated, you'd be waiting when I was ready to settle down." There it was, the truth. I wasn't her partner, I was her retirement plan, her safety net while she had her fun. Sophie stormed out to confront Emma. I called Emma to warn her, but she just said, "Let her come." An hour later, Emma called me back. Sophie had shown up screaming, making a scene that had neighbors threatening to call the police. She'd accused Emma of plotting and scheming, of betraying their friendship. "I told her the truth," Emma said. "That watching her treat you like garbage made me realize she never deserved either of us." Sophie came back to pack her things, bringing friends as witnesses like I was some kind of criminal. She tried to take the Xbox, claiming she'd bought it for my birthday. I let her have it. It was worth $300, a small price to pay for freedom. When Emma walked in with coffee during the packing, Sophie nearly had another meltdown. "Really? You're just going to flaunt this in my face?" "I'm just here to support my boyfriend," Emma said calmly. First time either of us had used that word. After Sophie left, I sat in my half-empty apartment with Emma, feeling something I hadn't felt in months. Peace. We're taking things slow now, doing it right. No games, no manipulation, just two people who actually want to be together. Last week I exercised my investor rights in the food truck business and voted to change locations, moving it 40 minutes outside the city. The owner Sophie had been dating called me furious, but legally there was nothing he could do. Sophie also discovered that, without my income, she couldn't afford the lifestyle she'd grown accustomed to. The designer clothes, the expensive dinners, the rooftop bar drinks, all gone. Meanwhile, Emma and I are building something real. She brings her kindergarten students' artwork to decorate my fridge. We cook dinner together instead of ordering $48 takeout. We watch movies cuddled on the couch without anyone checking their phone for other options. Sophie's still telling people her version of events, how Emma and I betrayed her, how we'd been planning this all along. Some people believe her. But Marcus, my lawyer friend, sent me an interesting text last week. "Saw Sophie at the coffee shop. She was on what looked like a Tinder date. Guy left after 15 minutes when the check came and she couldn't pay for her $8 latte." The truth is, I'm grateful Sophie suggested that open relationship. Not because it was a good idea, but because it revealed who she really was and who had been right in front of me all along. Emma doesn't see me as a backup plan or a safety net. She sees me as her first choice, every single day. And that's the difference between someone who loves you and someone who just loves what you can do for them.